Okay, let's see if it's streaming. I have no idea if this is streaming or not. Oh, you can hear me. Okay, good. But there's nothing coming through on there's nothing coming through on the dlive thing here, so I'm not really sure. I don't know what I'm doing. But anyway, as long as you can hear me, I'll get some help with how to actually get this to work right. But anyway, I had started there. If you can see, I had number 1, set another goal, dream a new dream. I was going to do like a little series on how to start getting debt free, how to take practical steps to do it. Only a small pick with writing. Yeah, I know. Okay. But anyway, I'll figure that out later, I hope. So half the screen. Yeah, I know, Denmark Bear. The whole screen is blank, I think. Um, I've got it through DLaw or through OBS, but I don't know how to work the thing. I went in to try and get some tutorials on it, but I just don't quite understand them all. But anyway, if you can hear me, then that's good. Maybe just pull something else up and watch it and listen. I wanted to go through the Financial Matrix book by Orrin Woodward. And he talks a lot about what Big Bear talks about with getting out of debt and how the grabblers control the whole monetary system and that sort of thing. I'd actually got in with this. Just feedback. We hear you. Good. Okay. I actually got hooked up with this financial fitness program in 2017 by a friend of mine. And at that point in my life, I was still a total boomer. Like I just was, even though I had, was a little more awake than the rest of my friends and family, I was still a big boomer. But anyway, a friend of mine got me hooked up with this financial fitness program, and Orrin Woodward and Chris Brady. And I read this book called The Financial Fitness, and it like totally woke me up. I used to work in the banking industry, and I worked in a contact center for 5 years in technical support. And but I also had to deal with like personal business account, business banking, investment banking, business like investment. What was loans and mortgages and that sort of thing. And I worked in that environment for like 5 years and was just so disgusted with it all because they wouldn't let me help people. They put you on a timer where your average is like you should work, or you should handle each call no more than 5 minutes, like maximum. So that was their averages, and I really sucked at that because I liked helping people. I was in that job for 5 years. It paid pretty good, but I got out of it as soon as my youngest was out of college, and just took my chances working in a nursery, like a tree plant nursery. So anyway, a friend of mine who worked in the plant nursery kept telling me about this program and that I would really enjoy it. So finally, I gave in, bought the book, and got into the program and started reading it. And it was like, whoa, my eyes were totally opened. And I knew from working in the bank that our financial system was totally screwed. I knew that. I could see it day after day, just from working there, but I didn't know the depth of it. I didn't realize how deep it went, because we're not taught any of this in school. It's not taught in university. I went to university. I went to college. I took accounting. I took financial math. I took all that stuff, right? But this stuff is never taught. You're taught how to add and subtract, and you're taught how to be a good little accountant, a good little bookkeeper, but that's the extent of it. So when I got into this program and started finding out exactly how deep it went, my eyes were totally opened. And it was at that point that I started to wake up to other things in the world and how the government was pretty much run by the monetary system and blah, 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 right? So anyway, so are y'all still hearing me? I don't know if you can all still hear me or not, but anyway. Um, So anyway, I just want to start reading a little bit, and I think maybe this is what I'll do just to get used until I figure out how to actually work dlive. I'm going to read you a little bit of this book. Just, I don't think it's copyright infringement if I'm reading it, and if I'm not writing it, I don't know. Maybe it is, but anyway, he's chapter 1. He says, although the life-changing conversation occurred nearly 23 years ago, I still remember it as if it were yesterday. I had just walked in the front door from a long day at work when Lori enthusiastically announced that we were pregnant. Whoa, talk about an emotional jolt. On one hand, I was pumped, happy to be starting our family. On the other hand, however, I was worried, for my engineering brain quickly calculated the economic implications of Lori's message, and it didn't look good. Nevertheless, I refused to let my personal worries ruin our festive moment, so I wrapped my arms around Lori and buried the growing angst as joy and fear battle for emotional supremacy. Perhaps I need to explain further the mental war raging inside of me. In short, one of my key selling points in convincing Lori to marry me was my expected income as a successful engineer, an income I believed would allow Lori to be a stay-at-home mom. Of course, this promise, with many others, was made before we were married, and the reality of our financial situation hit us. And we had accumulated over $32,000 of consumer debt outside of our mortgage before children. Now, with Lori's surprise announcement, I had no clue how we were going to make ends meet without her income as an accountant, especially since I knew children could only add more expenses to our already bulging budget. There was simply no way we could lose Lori's income and children's expenses and not fall even further behind financially. And wow, when I read that, that really hit home to me because I'm divorced now, but my ex and I, when we had our children, I was a stay-at-home mom, and we were determined that I would be a stay-at-home mom too. Because even though I was a boomer, we were well aware that the educational system was crap, and we wanted to set our family up so that I could teach my kids a lot. If need be, I could be a stay-at-home mom. I could raise our children, and I could teach them. And so, like living on one income, we were tempted many, many times for me to go back out into the workforce. So, like, I totally got that, especially this guy's an engineer and his wife was an accountant. And I was thinking when I read this, like, they're making pretty good money. Why in the heck couldn't she be a stay-at-home mom? However, taxes, yeah, expenses. But anyway, I'll continue here. Embarrassingly, however, like the proverbial ostrich with its head in the sand, I refused to face facts. I somehow believed that if I ignored the issue long enough, Lori would just continue working until we cleaned up our financial mess. In my most optimistic moments, I even convinced myself that Lori wanted to continue working. After all, she was a professional accountant, and that she wouldn't hold me to promises I had made during the courting process. My optimism, needless to say, was not well founded. After several weeks of tolerating my strategic silence, Lori dropped the bomb. Despite her knowing I had to go to class later that night, Lori flat out asked me when she should tell her employer she was leaving her job to raise our family. This was it. The moment I had hoped to avoid was now upon me, and I could feel my heart rate increasing precipitously. While not happy with what I perceived was a breach of etiquette, I simply breathed deeply and shared my rehearsed lines about our precarious condition, a financial state that made it impossible for her to leave her job. Lori evidently had rehearsed her lines as well, for she simply said, "Orrin, you promised me." I attempted to explain away this inarguable fact by agreeing with her statement in principle, but repeating to her the timing wasn't right. Lori ignored my rationalizations and merely repeated, "Orrin, you promised me." They say facts are pesky things, and no matter how badly I wanted to dismiss Lori's facts, the pesky part was she spoke the truth. Disoriented, I suddenly lost my rational posture and meekly mumbled something about unpaid bills and poor timing. Lori, not buying anything I was selling, stared into my eyes and said one more time, Orrin, you promised me. That ended the argument. Game, set, match to Lori. How could I argue with her any longer? Humbled, embarrassed, and without any idea of exactly how I was going to do it, I agreed to honor my commitment. I'm going to stop that there. I'm just going to make sure that I'm following all the rules and everything. The book is really good. It's really entertaining. I really enjoy it. And I've read it twice already, so it's a really great book. But he makes some really good points. Like, I don't think we start early enough planning for our financial futures. I think as parents, I know for myself, I was quite um, adamant with my kids, teaching them how to manage their budgets, how to kind of plan a bit more for their future. But kids being kids, they get money in their hands the first time and they just want to blow it on all these things that mom and dad can't afford to get them, or mom and dad refuse to get them. So the reality of teaching kids really early is that it's a hard thing to do. Even if your kids, like my kids were 13, 14 when they got their first jobs bussing tables at the local ski hill. And yeah, it was when they got that first paycheck, I really had to crack the whip and insist that they open a bank account and put half of their money in it. And it was really hard keeping on top of those kids to make sure that they learned that they got a good foundation of saving. I wanted them to learn how to save and learn how important saving was. But trying to get them to see too far into the future is really hard, but it's really important as parents that we start. Because once they do reach young adulthood, they get married and that first baby's on the way. If they don't have a good pattern of savings in their life, they're going to run into things like this where, you're both out working, you're spending all your money, you're not saving much, you're not looking to the future, and then bang, a baby comes along, and then what do you do? So you it's really important to help them to not shoot themselves in the foot when it comes to their finances. Anyway, I'm going to stop there today and see how we're doing. So I don't know if you can all, if that, was any value to you or not, but I'm going to try it again later this afternoon. Hopefully I'll have someone who can help me figure out how to work this so that you're actually seeing a picture. All right, thanks guys. Peace out.